What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of yours truly, Black Coffee. I'm here with y'all know who, the princess, the queen of Crenshaw, Miss Jane. How you doing? How you feeling today?
I'm doing good. I'm
Yours.
not gonna lie. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm ready. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm ready. How you
Hey,
doing?
we're gonna push it through. I'm good. I'm good. I am actually leaving out tomorrow morning,
Okay.
early tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. So I myself am tired, but I'm excited for my trip to New York, which is why we're trying to get this session recorded before I head out. But again, before we begin, y'all, please like, share, subscribe, as well as comment on our content as we continue this video journey, this filmed journey of our podcast, Black Coffee. Jane, it is Teacher Appreciation
It
Week.
is. I'm gonna get all these mugs and all these cards. I'm very appreciative. I love my
Uh,
students. I love the families I work with. I'm very grateful.
yeah, no, for sure. Teachers play an important role in our society. They're the ones who are entrusted with enriching our kids, the next generation of leaders in our country, in our society. And so, thank you to all the teachers across the nation. I don't think teachers get the credit that they deserve, Jane,
Mm-hmm.
because not only do they teach students, they also put their lives at risk in the classroom, and that's a reality in today's climate, social climate.
Yeah.
And so,
Teachers wear many
um,
hats. You wear many
right,
hats.
man. Sometimes they're surrogate parents.
Yes, we're
Um,
therapists, we're social workers, we're janitors, we tie shoes. We sometimes we
uh,
have to put our nursing hats on. You know, my great anatomy degree come in handy. You know, I
mhm.
did watch it for 10 years, so it's the stuff I put on.
And y'all, that is her show, Grey's Anatomy. Man, that is her show. I've actually only seen maybe one or two episodes in the
Nah,
entire what
really?
15, is it 15 seasons? I
No,
don't
it's
know how many.
18. 18.
18.
I ain't gonna lie, I stopped watching after season 11. People know, if you know me, you know why I stopped at season 11 when they killed off
Why
Patrick
is that?
Dempsey. They killed off Patrick Dempsey, aka Dr. Shepard. I have never, see, I'm getting emotional. I never forgive Shonda
Ooh.
Rhimes for killing him. But you know what? She's a good ass writer.
Well,
It's Shonda Rhimes.
Shonda,
Uh-huh.
if you're watching this, Jane has some beef with you.
She knows.
She knows, she knows. I love Shonda Rhimes.
Oh
How to
yes.
Get Away with Murder. That's my show,
Private
y'all.
practice station.
Mhm.
That new fire station show. I quite didn't get the hold of it, but I hear good reviews about it. But you know, Shonda's everywhere. Bridgerton on Netflix, so
Oh,
she's
is
all
that
over
her
the
as well?
place. Yes,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yes,
I didn't
Mama,
know that at
she
all.
she she's everywhere.
She is. She is. So again, thank you to all the teachers. Y'all put your lives at risk. Y'all enrich the kids. They also spend their money in bringing materials to the classroom.
That
So
is true.
thank.
That is true.
She's like, yeah, uh-huh. And sometimes they don't get reimbursed. So
But we
thank
do
you.
it because we love our students. We love our
And that
students. We love what we do.
and that's what it's all about. We need teachers who actually have a love for the field and who love the kids in the classroom, not just, I mean, I don't think anybody does it for a paycheck because as we know, teachers are not paid what they deserve, especially with what they have to put up with
Hmm.
nowadays. So thank y'all. We have some
You laughing? So I know it's something serious.
well, we have some intriguing topics on the burner
Okay,
this evening. Oh, I shouldn't have mentioned the timestamp
it
because
doesn't matter.
but it don't matter because y'all gonna watch it somehow. Hopefully, we pray. Um, Brother Don Lemon,
Mm. Mm.
Brother Don Lemon, your cousin.
He
Uh,
not my cousin.
um, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure everyone knows by
Oh yeah,
now,
it's been out for a while now.
it's been out for a while. We're a little late on this, but there are some things that we want to, I guess, just bring forth for discussion. Don was fired from CNN, and he was accused of being sexist, engaging in misogynistic behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, Jane, I feel like CNN has been planning, well, at least that he's already fired, but they were
Mm-hmm.
planning to get rid of Don for some time. This was not, oh, he did one thing and we're going to get rid of him. This was
It was planned.
right. This was a plan, a cycle that led to his firing in late, was it April or early May?
This past month. So it's,
Okay.
yeah, April. Yeah, from prime
So
time to morning. So yeah, that's a big drop.
and that's usually the signal when they take someone as high profile as Don. And mind you, Don was with CNN for how many years? Was it 17?
17. 17 years.
17 years. When you take someone who is on the network for that long and they're scheduled on a prime time spot, and then you bring them to the morning schedule, that usually is a signal for trouble.
Phasing out. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, what do you have to say about this? I know you have
Woo.
your
I mean,
individual thoughts about your cousin.
okay. Don Lemon's early days, I used to hate watching because I was like, what kind of nonsense he gonna say today? But
Mm,
later, like towards like on his way out, I would say
mm,
I saw a big change in him. Because once upon a time, he was a diehard Coon fan.
ooh,
Part of the Coon community. He
ooh.
was, he was.
You saying he part of the wait the coon or the raccoon?
Tomato, tomato. Tomato, tomato.
Jade, you crazy too.
Like all seriousness, he was saying some outrageous things in his upcoming days with CNN. But I did see a shift in Don Lemon's way he get his information out. I would say I don't agree with all like everything he says, but it came very respectful in my opinion towards I said the last 5 years, 5 or 6 years, I saw a change in Don Lemon that I like. Um, yeah, it's crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it's crazy. I saw that email post he posted it out on Twitter and everywhere that he was shocked that they let him go. I was like, I want to say shocked. I was surprised that it was this soon, to be honest. Especially when it's so much going on right now in the political world that they let him go. Especially in the morning, he's like the only. For me, he's like the only person of color who spoke up with most issues, where his other two white co-hosts was very silent in certain
Mm.
certain topics. So I really appreciate Don Lemon in his final days in CNN.
I haven't watched CNN on a regular basis
Hmm.
probably since before the pandemic. So I'm not familiar with how CNN, designs its programming. However, I do know that Don Lemon, has had a shift in the way that he conveyed his views on television. And like you said, he said it was a surprise. He mentioned that they didn't fire him in person. I don't think it was a total surprise to him. I just think that he didn't know that it was going to happen like that at that particular
Hmm.
time. However, you did mention political climate. And I feel like because we live in a country where freedom of speech is no longer free, and especially if you don't have the complexion for the protection for the collection,
We talking about the mayonnaise, the napkin cloth. Yeah.
no, well, we be nice. We want to be nice. We're being nice, but that we people can't share their views
Hmm.
freely in the society, the climate that we're living in now. Let's scale back to December of 2022. So, what, 6 or so months ago, Don had an argument over pay inequality in women's sports and supposedly said that, well, he argued that people are more interested in the men.
Hmm.
Now, I didn't watch that particular segment. However, at least from what I know about Don Lemon, I would assume that he was trying to highlight the point that we live in a country where media puts this huge spotlight on men in sports. Look at basketball. Okay. Look at soccer. Look at all of our major, sports fields, if you will. There is more of an illustration for men versus women. We don't see the amount of promotion and marketing from the media in WNBA, Women's Soccer League, the way how we do with men. And media influences public opinion.
That's
And
right.
so when he mentioned people are more interested in the men, at least from what I know about Don Lemon, and I don't always agree with what he has to say, but I would assume that's what he meant. But we know that this country, we love to take people's words out of context, and people
Yeah.
get hurt very easily. And so, what do you have to say about that before I get to
I would say I
the
did watch part of that interview. I would say he did bring up some good points. I think it's more of the how he worded certain his how he worded towards the two people he was talking to about the whole promotion of women's sports and equality. And in some points he wasn't really listening. I think he was listening to have a rebuttal most of the times. But
Mm,
the main point of Don Lemon's argument, I did agree to a certain point. I think it comes down to marketing. If you're not marketing, who's going to watch it? It's not out there.
mhm,
Like,
mhm.
I love basketball. I love it. I do
Oh,
love
you do?
women's sport. But my thing is the time zone, that not the time zone, I mean like the timing when it comes out, you don't really see that much of promotion. People don't know that the WNBA season is about to start pretty soon. They recently
Mm,
had a WNBA draft. No, like it's not really out there as much when it comes to the men's sport. Is Don Lemon correct in that sense? Yes. Is it harsh how he said it? It was harsh, but it was the truth.
and you know what, Jane? That's the thing about our country.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to hear the truth. I don't think he meant it in a way to say, "Oh, people are not interested in seeing women play sports."
Mm-hmm.
But again, media influences the way how the public or what the public is interested in and whatnot, whether it's social media, whether it's news sources like Fox News. We know how they influence their audience,
Mm-hmm.
CNN, MSNBC. And so, and let me just go on a tangent here. When it comes to pay inequality, now I am for sure a proponent and a supporter of bringing the pay to be equal with males in sports, women and men in sports. But again, we know how much NBA players get paid
Mm-hmm.
versus WNBA players get paid. And so this ties into, if the media is not showcasing and trying to generate public interest in women playing sports, well, what is that? What does that? What is the effect on those watching?
True. But I will say this: most women, most athletes, WNBA athletes,
Mm,
they not saying they want to get paid like LeBron James. They just want equal share of the revenue that's coming in. Did you
right.
know that some women don't even get the they don't get equal pay when it comes to their jersey sales? They don't get some of that.
Mm,
They don't get none of that money. So
mm,
it's like I get what people are saying, like, oh, you can never get paid like the men, but they
mm,
saying that we know that we are not on the pay scale of that. We just want to be respected when it comes to revenue of the WNBA. We want some of that too.
mm,
How my name is my name on my jersey? How you get part of that? That makes no sense.
mm. No,
And
thank
then
thank you,
mhm,
thank you for bringing that up, Jane, because I didn't even know that, and a
mhm.
lot of people don't know this. So back to Don Lemon again. If knowing how, at least from what I do remember about Don Lemon when I used to watch CNN on a somewhat more regular basis, I think that's the point that he was trying to get. But again, freedom of speech. And we're going to get to American journalism because it's more about ratings and viewership
Oh yes, shock values. Hmm.
than actual reporting. So let's fast forward to February of this year, 2023. Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, a staunch Republican, she made a comment and said mental competency tests should be made mandatory for politicians over the age of 75. Now, Don Lemon, he mentioned this is his quote: "This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it is wrong. I think it is the wrong road to go down." And referring to Nikki, she says people or politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry, a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s. So what he was doing in that
He
in that
used her
statement.
own words, but I think he went a little bit too far. If you kind of get what I'm saying, he did a little bit too
Well,
far
okay,
because
what do you think he went far on?
I mean when he said like he was right. When you go to his age, it is like a slippery slope. But when he started talking about prime, he went a little bit too far because now he's talking about like it goes towards a woman's look and they value in that
Mm,
sense. That's how I saw it. Like you're only good in your 20s and 30s. After that, you're not worth it.
I mean, like,
I get what he was saying, but in that sense, it came off more of her looks. Like
I,
you in your prime around your 20s and 30s. Once you pass your 30s, yeah, it's between
I
you and
mean,
God.
I don't. It's between you guys. Um, I don't think I have. I put it like this. I agree.
No, I
I
do
see.
agree to a certain extent.
I see where your point is, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that he was mentioning her appearance or look. I think what he was, the point that he was making, because Nikki Haley is 51 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and she said that President Biden, if he is reelected, he probably wouldn't make it to the end of that term. Now, I'm going to stop right here. If y'all listen to our last
I would say
episode,
because yeah.
if y'all listen to our last episode, we talked about um, potential age limits for the presidency and for those who are elected to Congress, because there's no reason why, at least in my opinion, there's no reason why people, we have folks 95 in their late 80s sometimes who are very sick representing their districts, representing their states because they're not physically able to do so. Not saying that if you're up in age you cannot do that,
Mm-hmm.
but it for a lot of people in that stage of life it is difficult to do so. And so Nikki Haley mentioning that, you know, basically she said President Biden wouldn't live if he was reelected in 2024. This is what she said, and said that mandatory mental competency tests should be required for politicians over 75. Even though Donald Trump, who she
Because he falls
supports,
under that category too.
is in that age bracket.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the point that Don Lemon was trying to get is you're talking about Joe Biden needing, and mind you, the biggest I'm not the biggest fan of Joe Biden. But Nikki Haley, you're 51 years old, talking about mental competency, basically making an ageist statement, at least the way how she said it.
Mm-hmm.
And what he was saying, that Nikki Haley, you're not in your prime either. Now, granted, she's not in her 70s. And again, this is not against anyone who is in their 70s and 80s. We love you. We respect you. We thank you because you have lived I
Mm-hmm.
mean, to make it that far in life is a blessing,
Full
especially
of knowledge.
in these times. But let's be honest, when somebody says, "Oh, this person is in their prime," we think of somebody in their 20s, their 30s, and their 40s. I don't think Don Lemon. Now, the part where I could see people got misconstrued at is when he said a woman is considered to be in her prime,
As I said, he went a
20.
little bit.
That was the part that
Yeah,
he should have said people or society considers people,
in a
meaning men and
prime.
women,
Mm-hmm.
right, to be in their prime in this age bracket, their 20s, 30s. and 40s, because that's usually the agreed definition. Not saying that you can't accomplish things in your 50s and 60s, because we've seen that. We've seen very powerful, inspirational, influential people make change in their upper in the upper age bracket. But I mean, people are in their prime in their 20s and 30s and 40s for the most part. I don't think there was much, but again, the society we live in, you say one thing that this part of the audience does not like, then it becomes a huge issue. And oh, you're
Yeah.
sexist. Oh, you don't like you're ageist. You don't like this
Like
group of people.
women. But missed the whole part of his argument. But just
The
harping on
argument.
that little thing.
Right, because Nikki Haley, you support Donald Trump, and he's not, I think he's what, 4 or so years younger than Biden. He's in the same age bracket, but yet you're talking about how Biden wouldn't live if he was reelected in 2024.
Yeah.
So, but you're supporting the same person who also is
Yeah.
on God's time.
Yeah.
So I think what we can take away here is, again, American journalism and media is more about ratings and viewership, more so than actual reporting to truly inform the American population. So, folks, we're not going to draw this on, but please get your news sources
Yeah.
from Washington Post, New York Times, NPR. If you
I'll just say get it from multiple sources. Don't get everything from one.
multiple sources,
Yeah, from
right?
one
Because
nation. I mean, one station. Get it from multiple locations.
because now what we're seeing is that news stations, and sources like CNN, Fox News, which really, in my opinion, is not news. It's
That's a joke.
clown entertainment. And sorry if you watch Fox News, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
Over there losing brain
it's
cells watching that channel.
it's and so it's about viewership and ratings. And if someone on the channel says something that is not liked to their audience and their ratings go down, even though they're sharing their opinion, because constitutional wise, we are given that ability to share our opinion, you're booted. Don Lemon will be all right. Brother Don Lemon is
He'll be all
worth
right.
$12 million. He has, I think he was getting paid $4 million a year at his height from CNN. So he should be fine. Tucker Carlson. Since we're on journalism, Tucker Carlson was fired from good old Fox News. I'm not.
You know the crazy thing
Fox
is
News.
he was fired for like all major news station, MSNBC, CNN, now Fox News. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Well, what do you have to say about cousin Tucker? He ain't my cousin.
He ain't my cousin. I would nah, brother. We ain't related. You said what?
Rebuke it in Jesus' name.
Oh, I do rebuke it. Tucker Carlson. I feel like not seeing it. I mean, I feel like Fox did this because I think it's a lawsuit that's going on. I think they just did it to save their butts, but I think it's a little bit too late. Tucker Carlson been saying wild stuff, a lot of out of pocket stuff. I feel like he has a good
years.
He has a good cult following. If you really listen to, like, if you just put it on just to listen, because sometimes you gotta hear what the idiots are saying on the other side, so you can have a good comeback. But if you just listen, it just sounds like those weird conspiracy theorists just talk out their butts. Makes no sense. It's just, like I said, it's more like Entertainment Tonight, but with politicians. It's just weird way to get your information. And people like it.
I know I've heard from a lot of Republicans and conservatives that they didn't even really care for him because, again, Tucker, his statements are so hateful. That man is filled with so much just inner hate.
He's like the Rush Limbaugh, like the second coming of Rush Limbaugh.
Ooh, you know what? And I'm not even going to say God rest his soul, because Rush Limbaugh, we know where he rushing to.
He's down there with Queen Elizabeth.
God save the queen. I
Whoo. Yeah.
with Tucker, I'm going to skip that because we talking about her son next. But um, with Tucker, so supposedly the process for firing,
Hmm.
um, really hit the nail when a racist text came to the surface that he sent to a producer. Now this is back in 2021, after the January 6th Capitol, what I call thug riots, because
Oh,
that's
of
exactly what
course.
it was. It was not only an insurrection,
The
in my
terrorist attack.
opinion, it was a terrorist attack and it was treason against the United States, which, again, had it been people who looked like you and me,
We didn't even make it to the stairs. Come on
we
now.
wouldn't have made it to the stairs. That would have been a massacre.
Hmm.
But Carlson described, so Tucker Carlson described uh, uh, a scene in which three Trump supporters beat up an Antifa kid, as they described. I don't know if it was a kid, a teenager,
Hmm.
probably most likely a teenager or a young person. But um, the part that upset Tucker in his text was that it was three against one, and it's not how white men fight. So this is what his text said. It said, a couple of weeks ago, I was watching a video of people fighting on the street in Washington, D.C. A group of Trump guys surrounded an Antifa kid and started pounding the living SHIT out of him. It was three against one, at least. Jumping a guy like that is dishonorable, obviously. It's not how white men fight. Yet suddenly, I found myself rooting for the mob against the man, hoping that they would hit him harder, kill him. I really wanted them to hurt the kid. I could taste it, unquote.
Wow.
Those are the words that came out of Tucker Carlson's disgusting and evil mouth. This is a grown adult. We're not even like yeah, the lawsuit and about his pretty much, because we talked about how media influences public opinion, how he led uh public
Yeah.
opinion to have this false ideology of
The rig
voter
election.
fraud,
Hmm.
right, in the election. But this comment shows the pure evil and wickedness in that man. Now, some of y'all may not know what Antifa is. Antifa is it's basically a loose leftist group of people who oppose fascism, nationalism, which Tucker is a huge proponent of nationalism. They oppose far right ideologies, white supremacy, racism, homophobia, xenophobia, and some Antifa activists denounce capitalism and just government overall. So that's what Antifa is. Again, Tucker Carlson blended nationalism, strong criticism against immigration. Because if you ever watched some of his segments, it seemed like he
Yeah.
had this just hatred for immigration. And I hope that he looks through his ancestry and see. I'm sure he has. Well, I won't say I'm sure. I know,
He is right.
because who's native to this continent?
It ain't him.
It's not him. And to my knowledge, I don't think he has native DNA. But he was a proponent of nationalism. He hated immigration, specifically immigration at the southern border. He didn't care about immigration from Canada or from other
Hmm.
places, other groups of people immigrating to the country. But for some reason, he had this hatred against immigration at the southern border. He spewed his white supremacist conspiracy theories, again, influencing public opinion to believe a lot of this. Because we're not going to get into today, but there is a line between opinion, freedom of speech, and pure hate and evilness, in my opinion. You know what's interesting?
What?
Tucker was a registered Democrat for 14 years until 2020.
Really? So he was on the other team.
14 years.
Wow.
Not 4 months. Not, oh, he was Democrat until Obama was elected or until the 2016 election. He was a Democrat until 2020. 4 years after Trump was elected. And so we know that his firing happened 1 week after Fox News settled a $785 million, you mentioned it, defamation lawsuit over Fox dissemination, in which Tucker Carlson played a big role. Fox's dissemination of election lies and propaganda. So our takeaway, actually, what do you have to say before we go on to the next topic?
Haha. I don't care for him. But I feel like, okay, it's good that he's not on a station like Fox News because they really get the information out there to the people, sadly. So it's good that his voice is kind of getting silent, but you know, it's going to be other organizations or all these other vlogs that will pick him up. Mm-hmm. But now he's even turning on Fox News, basically saying that, oh, they told me to say all this. It was all about ratings, this, that, and the third. So, you know, if they hit one, he gonna hit one. But you know, at the end of the day, it's just two cousin kissers just fighting each other, and we're just gonna sit back and watch.
Cousin kissers. And you know, we're gonna leave it like that. Fox News is a lie.
Bunch of lies.
Is lie. I don't even know why it's considered a news source. It's more of an entertainment source for those who believe in, because at least CNN brings a little bit more
some of a truth, yeah,
right, to the table. But Fox News, I mean, I sometimes I get high just watching Fox News.
It's not even one. Yeah, it's not even one program on that station. You'd be like, okay, I could watch this, though I don't agree. I'm not on this party, but I could listen to and see why people might choose this side. Everything is just pure dog poop. It's just trash.
It's a circus clown entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
That's basically what it is. So, good riddance.
Bye.
Oh, baby, so free, make you no